Dear students, this is 11th Zoology video class, Chapter 6, Part 3. Chapter 6, Part 3, Respiration. Last video class, we have seen transport of gases. In that gases, transport of oxygen, we have seen, and also we have seen sigmoid curve. What is sigmoid curve? We have seen the picture what you are seeing it. This is what we call as a sigmoid curve. Last video class we have seen. The next topic we are going to see is the one transport of carbon dioxide. Transport of carbon dioxide. Here, blood transports carbon dioxide from the tissue cells to the lungs in three ways. So, blood transports carbon dioxide from tissue cells, the cells which are present in the tissue, that is we call as a tissue cells, to the lungs in three ways. And we'll see what are the three ways. First ways is the one dissolved in plasma. Dissolved in plasma. About 7 to 10% of carbon dioxide transported in dissolved form in plasma. What is plasma? That is one of the component which present in the blood. That is we call as a plasma. And that is the first steps of transporting of carbon dioxide. And second step is the one bound to hemoglobin. Underline, take your textbook, just underline this one. About 20 to 25% of dissolved carbon dioxide is bound and carried in RBC as a carbaminohemoglobin. Carbaminohemoglobin. Just underline, just repeat this word. Carbaminohemoglobin. HbCO2. Okay, here the carbon dioxide plus Hb means hemoglobin. Look at the equations. They join together, they form carbaminohemoglobin. Okay, that is the second steps. The third steps is the one as bicarbonate ions in plasma. As the bicarbonate ions in plasma. About 70% of carbon dioxide is transported as a bicarbonate ions. Bicarbonate ions. Here, how this happens? This is influenced by a partial carbon dioxide and degree of hemoglobin oxygenations. RBC contains high concentrations of enzyme, carbonic anhydrase, whereas, so these are the enzymes, that's a carbonic anhydrase, whereas small amount of carbonic anhydrase is present in plasma. With help of this only they are taking place as a bicarbonate ions in plasma. At the tissue level, the carbon dioxide is high due to catabolisms and diffuses into the blood to form HCO3. HCO3. That's a bicarbonate we say. And hydrogen ions. When carbon dioxide diffuses into the RBCs, it combines, just listen here, when carbon dioxide, just they enter in the RBC, it combines with water, forming carbonic acid. And what they do, they catalyzed by carbonic anhydrase. Carbonic acid is unstable and dissociates into hydrogen and bicarbonate ions. Hydrogen and bicarbonate ions. Here, the carbonic anhydrase facilitate the reactions in both directions. Carbon dioxide, you can find these equations, carbon dioxide plus water, and just they form H2CO3 and just comes again the reversible manner, and that's what they given here, HCO3 plus hydrogen ions. Here, that HCO3, it's a bicarbonate, moves quickly from RBCs into the plasma, where it is carried to the lungs. At alveolar site, what is alveolar? Alveolar is the small inner parts which presents in the lungs. At the alveolar site, where the partial carbon dioxide is low and reaction is reversed, leading to the formations of carbon dioxide and water. Thus, carbon dioxide trapped as bicarbonates at the tissue level, it is transported to the alveoli and released out as carbon dioxide. See here, this is one word, important one word. Take out just textbook, underline. Every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers 4 ml of carbon dioxide to the alveoli for eliminations. Okay, every 100 ml of blood, deoxygenated blood, the 4 ml of carbon dioxide just sending out to the alveoli for eliminations. And here, Bohr effects and Alden effects we'll see. Increase in partial carbon dioxide, PCO2 means partially carbon dioxide, and decrease in pH, as well as decrease in affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen, and shift oxyhemoglobin dissociations curves. Here, what they say here, the curves as I shown earlier, the curve, the sigmoid curve. When the carbon dioxide increase during that time, the pH also will be decreased. The affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen also decrease during that time. That curves automatically shift to right. Here the oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve to right side, and thus facilitate unloading of oxygen from hemoglobin in the tissue. Oxyhemoglobin means, what is the oxyhemoglobin? When hemoglobin are loaded with oxygen fully, mean that is because oxyhemoglobin. Okay, when during Bohr effects, what happens? This dissociations of oxyhemoglobin takes place. During that time, that sigmoid curve automatically turns right side. Okay, here dissociations of oxyhemoglobin take place means oxygen as well as hemoglobin just they unload, they separate. That's what they say here. They unload as separate, facilitate unloading of oxygen from hemoglobin in the tissues. Okay, so once if the oxygen as well as hemoglobin separated only, where the cells they can get more amount of oxygen. This effect of partial carbon dioxide and pH on oxyhemoglobin dissociation curves is called as a Bohr effect. So this is what we call as a Bohr effect. This is important, 3 marks. And what is Alden effect? This is opposite that one, Alden effects. In other hands, describes how oxygen concentrations determines hemoglobin's affinity for carbon dioxide. Here, the amount of carbon dioxide transported in the blood is remarkably affected by the degree of oxygenations of the blood. The lower partial pressure of O2, the lower affinity of hemoglobin saturations with oxygen, hence more carbon dioxide is carried to the blood. This phenomenon is called as the Alden effect. Okay, here the more carbon dioxide is carried in the blood. Okay, when the oxyhemoglobin they reach in the tissue, during that time the associations of oxyhemoglobin takes place. The cells which present the tissue they take more oxygen. That is we call as a Bohr effects. Whereas Aldrin effects takes opposite. The blood they carry carbon dioxide. This phenomenon is known as Aldrin effects. Here the lungs. In the lungs process is reversed as the blood moves through the pulmonary capillaries. It's a partially carbon dioxide decline from 45 millimeter hemoglobin to 40 millimeter hemoglobin. For this is to occur, carbon dioxide for free from bicarbonate ions and chloride ions moves into plasma and recent reenters of RBC blinds with hydrogens to form carbonic acids which dissociates into carbon dioxide and water. The next one is regulations of respiration. Regulations of respirations. A specialized respiratory center present in the medulla oblongata. Underline one word. Its presence hindbrain of called respiratory rhythm center. It is responsible for regulations. So there is pneumotoxic. So pneumotoxic center present in pons variola regions of the brain. The moderate function is here. Respiratory rhythms center to ensure normal breathing. Then chemosensitive, underline chemosensitive. Area found close to the rhythm center is highly sensitive to carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. And hydrogen ions eliminated out by respiratory process. The receptors associated with the aortic arch and carotid artery send necessary signals to rhythmic center for remedial actions. The role of oxygen is insignificant in the regulations of respiratory rhythms. So this is we call as a regulations of respirations. Then one more tabular column we need to see. Here I'll show you the tabular column. This is important questions. This tabular column. Here this is what the tabular column. You have to learn the differentiate between inspirations and expirations. Learn this tabular column. Respiratory center initiate the stimuli during inspirations, and here the respiratory center terminates during expirations. The inspiration second point, diaphragm and expiratory muscles are contract. The diaphragm relax, but the internal intercostal muscles are contract. The thorax volume increases, chest walls expand. Here volume decreases, the chest wall contracts. The intrapulmonary pressure is reduced, the intrapulmonary pressure is increased. What is intrapulmonary pressure? Here, pulmonary means here. The lungs only we call as a pulmonary. Between the lungs, the pressure will be increased. The front as well as lateral as well as in between. All this thing we call as a intrapulmonary pressure is reduced in the inspirations, whereas expirations it increased. Alveolar pressure decreased, then the atmospheric pressure. Alveolar pressure is increased, then the atmospheric pressure. Air is taken inside due to expansions of alveoli. Air is sent out due to contractions of alveoli. Air flows into the alveoli until the alveolar pressure equalizes the atmospheric pressure and the alveoli get inflated. Air flows out of the alveolar until the alveolar pressure equalizes the atmospheric pressure and the alveoli get deflated. So this is important. 3 marks they'll ask you. Learn this tabular column and also learn how carbon dioxide transported, and also learn another questions, differentiate between Bohr effect as well as Aldrin effect. With this we'll wind up our class. Next class we'll see problems in oxygen transport. If you have any doubt, you can contact me through WhatsApp. Okay, bye. Take care.